Ali Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So I'm presuming you all did this open book test. Some of you have requested for another week. Glad to know you got 2 weeks. Because next week, I understand, with Ayyam al-Fatimiyya, I'm not going to let you go. You're going to have another test. Okay? It's an open book test, come on. It's not like you can look things up. No? Okay, great. Fine, journaling the Quran. You all know about the introduction, your tools, your pencil colors, all the rest of it. You've gone through the color directory. If not, you will look it up on YouTube as you get it. But we're going to go through some of these surahs so we know it's coming out of our ears. So if I did Surah Al-Fatiha, in your heads, you will have Surah number 1. Fatiha is the opening, and what about the short focus? What comes in your head? Summary of the Qur'an. I told you each one dovetails onto the other. Okay? When you go to Surah Al-Baqarah, the cow, second surah, what is the short focus? History of Iman. Are you good? We as human beings will never progress unless we know our history. That's why even in matchmaking, you're told, look at the families that they come from. Because at the end of the day, the mother-in-law that you didn't like will come into your house as your daughter. You know that, don't you? Okay. All right, next one. Surah Al Imran. We did that last week. Or the week before. So Surah Al Imran, a Muslim identity. You did? Your Muslim identity, Al Imran, family of Imran. And you knew who Imran was. Now today we're going to look at Surah Al Nisaa. Surah Al Nisaa in essence is how you manifest that Muslim identity. It's all too well to say, theoretically, this is my Muslim identity. So this is how I'm supposed to be. But how are you supposed to appear in society? How does it manifest itself? So although Al Imran is pretty theoretical, now we come to Nisa, which now tells you, how does this play in society? So I'm going to look through all these 7 sections that you have of Nisa very quickly, and maybe when you re-listen to it again, you'll be able to make notes. You can make notes today as well. So the first section says that a Muslim society, a society in which a Muslim exists, it's a society of families. There is a respect of the family. And it goes further. It says that to be able to have respect in a family, the women should be respected. A greater emphasis is put on women. You will find that the status of women is really up there. Al-Jannatu tahta aqdama ummahatikum. You know, Jannah lies at the feet of mothers. A society that does not respect women is not a Muslim society. It's not your Muslim identity. So all the Indian and Pakistani and Indian subcontinent thinking that we have is completely out of the window in Islam. Okay, that's number 1. The second section says, what really happens? Why do people go wrong? It's because they distort words. They distort, in other words, distort Allah's words. That's why they're able to put women down. So there's a distortion. The third section now looks, if you look at the second section was social justice, and I missed that out. So the second section was social justice, and then the reason for breakdown is in the third one, which is talking about distortion of divine words. The fourth section says, what is the solution? So the fourth section says the solution is do a study of the Qur'an. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. And we'll see that ayah coming up again and again. So, divine guidance, look at it. The fifth section tells you how to maintain justice. And we'll look at that as well, hopefully when we come to some of the ayah. Now this surah, in the 6th section, talks about hypocrisy. It is probably the surah that has the most ayat on hypocrisy. If you thought you were Surah Al-Munafiqun, Surah Al-Munafiqun is very small. This one has about 60 ayat on hypocrisy. Now we know what hypocrisy is. Hypocrisy is thinking something else and showing something else. Believing something else and displaying something else. So let me give you an example. I'm giving my example. Okay. So I come to the mosque. And I come to the mosque and it's pare. And sometimes my head hurts looking at that screen up there. And I'm supposed to look at it. And sometimes I speak, so I know what it feels like. The topics are way, I don't know, what is it? So you sit there and you meet the person who's reading the majalis and you say, oh fine majalis, what did I read? I don't know. So that, in essence, and the chair lady is sitting there, you need to change society to be that which you and I understand and which I and you are conducive towards. Most of the people I go to, most of the interface, if I can say, the societies or institutions I go to, it's very short, sharp, and finish. It's not just base and base and base, and then move and move and move, and you're sitting on top of each other. I'm talking about me, not about you. Good? Okay. So that is hypocrisy. And the seventh one, the only clarity is the guidance of the Qur'an. Nothing else. That is the only clarity you have. So what you're doing is actually finding some clarity in your Qur'an. Okay? So Surah Al-Nisa, how a Muslim identity identifies itself, how you manifest itself in society. Repeat again, if I said Nisa, women. Women in a society are really, really important. And a Muslim identity is one where it respects women. Okay. Now I've put this on the slide there, and I hope, and I hopefully will give you out bookmarks, we'll get them redone for you. Before every recitation of the Qur'an, before you come to this class, every single time you sit here, when you open the Qur'an, this is the dua that the Prophet read, وَالْزَمْ قَلْبِ حِفْظَ كِتَابِكَ كَمَا عَلَّمْتَنِي. Make me commit my heart to your book as you have taught me. If you don't know it, when you open the Qur'an, make me love your book. Make me fall in love with your book. That's basically what this is saying. All right? I'll make sure these bookmarks are given to you, inshallah, next week. All right. We're going to start journaling now. First ayah is surah number 4, ayah 4. Obviously, Surah Al-Nisa, ayah 4. Are you good? Surah Al-Nisa, ayah 4. And in your stickers, I think I had some stickers somewhere here. You have a heart and a box. Do you have that? A gift box with a heart. I'm sure Muhimina gave me some stickers. If not, she'll give them to me again. So Surah Al-Nisa has some stickers. You've got a heart with a box. And it says, وَآتُ النِّسَاءَ صَدُقَاتِهِنَّ. It doesn't say sadaqah, and most people read it as sadaqah. It says صَدُقَاتِهِنَّ. Oh, I've got it here. It's okay, I've got it here. So give them صَدُقَاتِهِنَّ. Saduqat comes from sidq, which means the truth. Mahar is the only way to legalize, to make the nikah truthful. Without mahar, a nikah is invalid. Mahar is a prenup. It must contain some financial value, but it doesn't need to be over the top. I repeat again. Mahar is that, it's saduqatihinna. Sadaqah means extra. So there's a difference between sadaqah and saduqah. In Arabic, just a single fatah or kasra or dhamma changes it. Saduqatihinna is basically give them this. Now what does it say? Nihla. It doesn't say just give them their mahar and say, hi, jahave. Okay? Nihla is a romantic gift. It's given with love, a lot of love. So saduqatihinna nihla is mahar, and it's given with love. Most people of my generation only get their mahar when they get divorced. Maybe your generation is different, right? But they don't even know what their mahar was. And mahar is really important. It's a gift of love. You can have it, you can demand it, you can postpone it to a later date, whatever. Mahar has a lot of issues in it. Because it is a gift of love, if you don't need it, divide it into 3. 1/3 forgive him. 1/3 used for medication for people who are ill. The amount of rahmah that is in there is amazing. Buy honey, give it out. And the other 1/3, give it to people who are struggling in their business. When a person came to the Prophet and said, Ya Nabi Allah, everything's going wrong. Everything I touch is becoming sand. He said, did you give your wife mahar? And he said, yes. He said, borrow it back. Put it in your business and see the difference it makes. Now I can tell you lots of hadiths on there. So this here is a gift. فَإِن تِبْنَ لَكُمْ عَنْ شَيْءٍ مِّنْهُ نَفْسًا فَكُلُوهُ هَنِيًّا مَرِيًّا. And if she gives you a bit of it, then accept it. If she forgives that 1/3 or whatever she wants to forgive. But it is a gift of love. So if he bought you chocolates, if you shared it and he said, but I bought them for you. No, share them with me. Okay, you good with that, right? Okay, 417. That's a beautiful ayah. Okay, turn that. I'm not going to go over all of them. Inshallah, one day we will. But right now, 417. Now, you've got a sticker here which shows a U-turn.
Toba is not forgiveness. Toba is U-turn, right? So it says, إِنَّمَا التَّوْبَةُ عَلَى اللَّهِ لِلَّذِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ السُّوءَ بِجَهَالَةٍ. Now it says Toba, it gives you an explanation of su. Su is the singular of sayyi'at. Sayyi'at is the plural. So he's saying Toba is only for those, innama Toba, innama means definitely. Toba is for those who committed a sin or did something shameful. Su is shameful. Something shameful out of temptation, out of not being able to control themselves. Jahala does not only mean ignorance. I knew it was wrong somewhere along my line, but out of my emotions, I got angry. I got attracted. I did things without thinking. That is jahala. But then immediately I thought, ثُمَّ يَتُوبُونَ. Then immediately I thought that was wrong. So I did a U-turn. Min qaribin فَأُولَٰئِكَ يَتُوبُ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ. And they did it quickly, qarib, and Allah will turn to them mercifully, knowing and wise. Why is this important? Is because we judge more than Allah does. One judge, position taken. When it's empty, we'll all apply. He forgives, but we will still not forgive. We will still say, you know her? This is what she did. Okay. Here he says, I forgive. Next one. But وَلَيْسَةُ التَّوْبَةُ. Tawbah is not for those لِلَّذِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ. Remember sayyi'at I said was plural. Su was singular. So they continually do the same sin. Maybe I'll put different way. They're addicted to it now. I'm going to talk about all of us and me in particular. So we sit down, we finish majalis, we finish everything, and then we have tabarruk. We call it Fatiha, right? And then we talk. And then every Fatiha time we talk. That is sayyat, okay? Hatta idha hadara ahadumul maut. Now what happens is they will continually doing this, but when they're met with death, qala inni tubtu al-an. I am asking, I'm going to do a U-turn now. وَلَلَّذِينَ يَمُوتُونَ وَهُمْ كُفَّارٌ أُولَٰئِكَ أَعْتَدْنَا لَهُمْ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا. That's not accepted. So right now, while I've got life to say, I'm sorry, I will try really hard not to do it again, whatever I did, while you've got life, rather than when Malakul Maut comes to say, excuse me, now I need to do it. And while you're here, right now, just close your eyes. Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilay. I am doing tawbah for whatever it is. It's entirely whatever we think. So that's your U-turn there. You good? Okay, next one, 426. I love this one. So 426 goes, you're going to look at 26, 27, and 28, okay? And you've got a sticker there which says Allah in a question mark. You know, many times you say, after all, what does Allah want from me? What does He want me to do? This is a question everybody asks. Somewhere along the line, we sit there and we say, I pray, I fast, I do all these things. Now look at these three ayat. I'd like you to look at the beginning of the three ayat. It says, yuridullah, and then it says, wallahu yuridu, and then it says, yuridullah again. Can you see that? All three ayat say, Allah wants. Urid means I want. Yurid means He wants. Are you good? It's not an Arabic lesson. Okay. So yuridullah. So He wants, He wants, He wants. Now let's look at see what He says in the first one. He says, yuridullah liyubayyina lakum wa yahdiyakum sunan alladhina min qablikum wa yatuba alaykum wallahu alimun hakim. He wants to guide you, and then it's talking about tawbah. Basically, bottom line, He wants you to qualify for tawbah. Number one. The first thing Allah wants from you and me is that He wants you and me to do a U-turn towards ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. That's the first thing. Because He says He wants to explain to you, He wants to yahdiyakum, He wants to guide you, like He did to those before you. But all He wants is that you qualify for tawbah. He only wants you to do a U-turn. He'll never remind you. He will bury it in the deepest of oceans and put no fishing. Once you turn to Him, He doesn't want to know your past. That's it. You good? Okay, second one. Now, the text has changed. The tone has changed. This is much stronger. First it was yuridullah. Now it was wallahu yurid. If I can emphasize that. In fact, now He's saying, I want to emphasize to you that I want an yatuba alaykum, that you come back to me. that you turn to be. وَيُرِيدُ الَّذِينَ يَتَّبِعُونَ الشَّهَوَاتِ أَن تَمِيلُوا مَيْلًا عَظِيمًا. And that you understand that when you go towards your temptations, it's a normal temptation. When you go towards your normal temptations, you're deviating away from me. All I want you to do is understand, that's what he's saying, and turn back towards me. That's it. That's all I want. Now, this plays along in society as well. If somebody came to you and said, I'm sorry, I'm going to pick on Zainab because I know her quite well. So if I picked on Zainab and I said, Zainab, I'm really sorry I talked about you. Her job after this ayah is to say, it's okay. Not what did you say and who did you say it to. Khalas, and I start again, don't I? You good? Okay, all right. Next one. Now yuridullah again. That's the third one, right? That is third desire. What does he say? Yuridullahu an yukhaffifa ankum wa khulqa al-insanu dha'ifa. He wants to remove your burdens from you. He wants you to be free. That's what he wants you to be. So the third thing, first thing, qualify for Toba. Second thing, come back to me. Third thing, he wants you to be free. So what does being free mean? We take on everybody else's burdens. We take on burdens that don't even belong to us. Let me give you an example. So Zainab again decided not to be my friend. Okay, so every time I went in, she ignored me, she turned her face away, didn't look at me. So I take that burden on me. Why didn't she do that? All night I'm thinking, what did I do wrong to her? She must have found out that I told Sajida about her and blah, 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 all the rest of it. You see the burden I take on me? While he's saying here, let them be. Leave it onto me. I will sort it out. I will do it all for you. If I can do so much for you, if I'm everything, all those Asma al-Husna, I can sort it out. Why are you worrying? Let them be. Incidentally, there's a book coming out in December called The Let Them Be Theory. Have you seen it? Google it. Okay, it's really good. Read it. Okay. So basically 3 things. You know what 3 things are? Number 1, qualify for Toba. Number 2, turn back to him. Number 3, he wants to alleviate your sins. And your burdens. And the only way he can alleviate your burdens is to tell you, leave it up to me. Trust in me. Okay? You don't have to worry about it. He's got it. وَأُفَوِّضُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَصِيرٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. Okay, next one, 431. And you've got pebbles there. You've got stones and pebbles. I'm going to tell you a story about this, okay? So 431, he says, if you leave the great sins, then we will do away with your small sins. You've seen sin. إِن تَجْتَمِنُوا قَبَائِرَ مَا تُنْهَوْنَ عَنْهُ نُكَفِّرْ عَنْكُمْ سَيِّئَاتِكُمْ وَنُدْخِلَكُمْ مُدْخَلًا كَرِيمًا. So Imam Jafar as-Sadiq, I'm going to tell you this ahadith about him. So these 2 people come to Imam Sadiq, and they said, yeah, Imam Sadiq, we want to do Toba. We're qualifying for Toba, we want to do Toba. These 3 ayat, okay? We want to do Toba. What do we do? And we want these burden of sins to be removed from us, because Allah says remove them. So one of them said, I don't do many small sins. I only do 2 big sins. I've got 2 big sins, and they're really bothering me. And the other one said, I don't do any big sins, but there's so many small ones. So Imam said, and it's real simple, we tell the children these stories. He said to the one with the big sins, go and bring 2 big boulders, like 2 big rocks, and bring them to me. And to the little one, the one who did little sins, he says, go and bring me as many sins as you think you can remember, bring me all the small stones. They brought them. And then he said to the man, go and put the boulders back. Quite difficult for him to put them back. But when he told the small one, the one with the small sins, he said, put them back. He said, I can't remember where I picked them up from. Right? So Imam said, when you're looking at this ayah, and these are his word, the biggest sin is that which the doer considers the smallest. I repeat again. The biggest sin is the one that the doer considers the smallest. So when here it says, so you've got to change your mindset. When it said, in tajtanibul qaba'ira, if you leave that sin which you thought wasn't big, ma tunhawna anhu nukaffir ankum sayyi'atikum, he will deal away with all the other sins. Often we think this person has committed a big sin and I've committed a small sin. It's not like that. Are you good? You've got your big rock and small rock, and you'll never forget that story, right? I still got some time. Have I got some time? Yes, I do. All right, now this one. Oh my goodness. Okay, now if I will try and explain it to the best of my ability. Here you've got a man and a woman there. Okay? Now this is the ayah that is probably used, if I can say, women are abused under the shade of this ayah. Very much so. If you find, people will quote this ayah all the time to abuse women, to beat them up, to shout at them, to do all sorts of things. They think it is a license to do that. So I'm going to take you bit by bit, okay? Let's see if you can understand it. And I hope, and I ask him to help me explain as I would like to do it. Ar-rijalu qawwamuna 'alan Nisa. Men, it says here, remember this is a translation I've taken from the Qur'an. But basically what this is trying to say, and I'd like you to write this down, that Allah has decided, because he said, Bima faddalallahu, we can't argue with him. He has decided that men are financially responsible for the household. They are financially responsible, because he continues to say, Ba'dhuhum ala ba'd wa bima anfaku min amwalihim. Can you see that? Because they spend out, they are qawwamuna 'alan nisa. In other words, if I look at it in the right way to translate it, it's saying that Allah has decided that they will be financially responsible. His money is my money is my money. Got that? I say it to him all the time. I've been married 48 years, so I can do that, okay? Are you good? Good with that? Okay, great. You can share it if you want, by the way. Not refusing. Please don't quote me. This is me, okay? You can do what you want. All right. Now it says, فَالصَّالِحَاتُ كَانِتَاتٌ حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهُ. All right. So these women, because their men are looking after all the other things, they are qanitat, obedient to Allah, okay? Not obedient to him. It's not yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir. It is a relationship which is relying on respect between each other. Are you good with that? Okay, qanitat. Hafidhatun lil ghaib. They protect in the absence. You know what ghaib is. You've all heard of ghaib when you see the ghaibat of. You cannot see Allah, you cannot see Imam, so on and so forth. But it also refers to, in some of the Mufassirin tell us, that they will always protect their family when they're not around. We do that, don't we? We go over the top. We say a woman is the button that keeps the family together. My mother used to say, Akodi dokna doketi. You know what I mean, right? So you're always covering up. That's what it means here. Okay, so basically it is talking to Allah. So hafidhat and lil ghaib. Let's go a little bit further. Bima hafidh Allah, because Allah is, as Allah has guarded them. Wallati tukhafuna. Now, if this is talking to a man, but it's talking to spouses, if you fear nushuzahunna. Nushuz is really somebody who's gone over the rails. Nushuz means she's throwing things around, she's shouting, she's screaming. She might be going through the menopause, but you've got to allow that, okay? It could be a lot of hormonal changes in her, everything. But if she goes completely crazy, there are 3 steps to go. That's what a man is told. So if in a household, there's children, there's family, and she's going nuts, okay, what does he do? Number 1. So I'm going to go through these 3 stages. The first thing is you will go to a counselor. It says talk to her. فَإِذُوهُنَّ in your language and my language is you will seek counseling. Now, I told you this ayah is used to abuse women. It doesn't mean I've talked to her once, she doesn't listen, khalas, I'm going to the second stage. La, 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 la. This stage will take a long time. And remember, she may be the mother of your children. She was your wife for a long time. Maybe it's something that's wrong with her. You will make sure that she gets the proper medical help. Are you good? Okay, great. And you'll pay for it. He will pay for it. Okay? All right, good. Okay. That's the first one. The second one is now she's still not listening. She's still going crazy. You've gone through counseling for weeks on end and she's not listening. Now the next stage. وَهْجُرُوهُنَّ. You will sleep in separate beds because she'll now feel that you've had enough and you can't take it. Or you will sleep in the same bed and you will turn away and that'll really hurt her and she'll really think about what she's doing. So you've gone through the whole counseling business, you've gone through the whole, medical business and still it's not working. So now you will separate beds. And that's hard. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to sleep in the same bed or at least sleep in the same room. But here now, you're going to turn away from her. When that doesn't work, and this is where we go completely mad, it's وَضْرِبُوهُنَّ. Now, it doesn't mean beat them. I'll refer you to Yasin. You all read Yasin, right? I think I've written it right. Surah Yasin, I think it's ayah number 13. وَضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلًا أَصْحَابَ الْقَرْيَةِ. Does it mean beat them with the example of the people of the town? You can't beat someone. Means make it really, really obvious that this is something you cannot tolerate in a household, which you're splitting up because you're being absolutely crazy. There's something wrong. But it also tells you, look at what the Prophet did, because we believe in the Qur'an and the Sunnah of the Prophet. So what did the Prophet do? Remember his wives? I'm not talking about Sayyidah Khadija, but if you look at some of the others, oh my goodness, they went nuts. What did he do? He dealt with them with rahmah, TTC, truthfulness, trustworthiness, and rahmah. This surah is what men should read. You cannot go mad at someone. You can't use it like that. You got to deal with them in rahmah. They may be going through a whole bunch of changes in their life. So here, وَضْرِبُوهُنَّ is to become a little bit more strict. A little bit more, some of the Mufassirin say that maybe you could just hold a hand a bit tight and say, please stop. And you've never held a hand that tight. You might want to say, I can't take it anymore. That's a meaning of وَضْرِبُوهُنَّ as well. Are you good? Okay. فَإِنْ أَتَعْنَكُمْ فَلَا تَبْغُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ سَبِيلًا. And if they suddenly now change and become all right, don't remind them of the past. Bury it in the deepest ocean. Put a sign out, no fishing. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيًّا كَبِيرًا. Allah is so great. Allahu Akbar. Never remind someone. Now, I'm not sure whether I've done justice to the ayah, but all I need you to understand, it's not an ayah of beating women. There is nowhere that allows you to do that. 3 stages, you've got that, right? Because most of the translations are done by Orientalists. And we accepted them because they learned the Arabic and translated it into English, right? So that translation, all the translations, except the ones that are done by maybe, I've seen a couple which are better. But that is why explanation is so necessary, and that is why you need to stick one of these on top of the ayah so you never look at that. Are you good with that? Okay, so 3 stages. So it's your son. Maybe your husband is past it now. After 48 years, they don't even dare come near you to beat you, okay? So your son said, I've read 434, Mama, and she's going crazy. So you would say 3 stages. 1, counseling, medical help, all the rest. Everything that's necessary. If that doesn't work, then you will have separate bedrooms. You will go sleep on the couch. She will still be in the bedroom. I'm sorry. Okay? And then the 3rd one is you will say, please, for God's sake, stop it. And then if she does stop it, you will never remind her again. Are you good? You sure? Okay. Have I got some time? Okay. All right, 440. You've got scales there. I think in your stickers you've got scales. Oh no, 440 is not scales. 440 you've got an atom. You got an atom? You got an atom, like a circular thing with an atom on it, right? Inna Allah la yudlimu mithqala dharratin. Okay, Allah will not even do injustice the weight of a speck. And then he says, وَإِن تَكُ حَسَنَةً يُضَاعِفْهَا وَيُؤْتِ مِن لَدُنْهُ أَجْرًا عَظِيمًا. Even if you do a minuscule good deed, he will multiply it above and beyond. He's absolutely phenomenal. Okay. The tiniest of deeds will be there. Now the next ayah, which I haven't highlighted in here, and I don't think I've put it in here as well, is 41. This is probably the strongest, most difficult ayah for the Prophet. Because first he's telling you, Allah will not do even a little bit of injustice. Remember, before it was all Toba. Toba means completely rubbed out. Al-af, completely rubbed out. But now there are some things that are not rubbed out. Now here in the ayah 41, if you read it, it says, فَكَيْفَ إِذَا جِئْنَا مِنْ كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ شَهِيدًا وَجَئْنَا بِكَ عَلَى هَؤُلَاءِ شَهِيدًا. You, O Muhammad, you will be the witness over your ummah. Can you imagine how hard it is? Imagine being in a family and imagine being the witness over something that your children have done wrong. Your heart would go out and you would say, I'd rather take it on me, but not on the children. This was the hardest ayah for the Prophet. Because in one place Allah is saying, I will not do a minuscule amount of zulm. On the other side, it's telling the Prophet, but you will be a witness. Okay, so maybe you could look at that. 464. Right? All of you know this story. And if you don't, I'm going to tell it to you. Now, in your stickers, you've got a pillar. I know she hasn't drawn it very well, but it's at the side. It's this pillar with a little bit of it's like an arrow. I don't know. Zara did it. So this is talking about Sutun Toba. Have you been to Masjid al-Nabawi? Okay, if you haven't, we'll go together. Okay? Masjid al-Nabawi? Inshallah one day. Okay. So this is the pillar that is also known as Sutun Abu Lubaba. So Abu Lubaba was a newly converted Muslim. Okay. Now, when the Prophet came to Medina after Hijrah, he did a peace treaty with the Jews who were living there. And the peace treaty was there to ensure peace in Medina. But what the Jews did was they broke the peace treaty. So the Prophet, with revelation of Allah, was told that things need to be taken. If I tried to, if I can say, the Prophet had to respond to this breaking of the peace treaty. Abu Lubaba went and leaked the news to the Jews that the Prophet is going to do something about this. He's not going to tolerate the way you have broken the peace treaty. One of the things they did, by the way, was when women were walking in the street, Muslim women, they used to pull off their hijabs and make fun of them. Okay, so this was something that was done in Medina. So Abu Lubaba felt so bad. You know that Toba, immediately feeling bad. He told his daughter to tie him to a palm trunk. And she would only open him for going to the bathroom, for praying salah, and for eating food. And he wept, and he wept, and he wept, and he wouldn't come. Now the Prophet, if you can imagine, he's resting in his home, and this ayah is revealed. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا لِيُطَاعَ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. Now you're reading, you're going to highlight from now. وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ إِذْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ. If you do anything that has hurt your soul, so you do something that is wrong, جَاءُوكَ, and they come to you, فَاسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهِ, and you do istighfar for him, وَاسْتَغْفَرَ لَهُمُ الرَّسُولِ, and Allah does istighfar, لَوَجَدُ اللَّهُ التَّوَّابَ الرَّحِيمَ. You will find Allah Tawwab and Rahim. And immediately the Prophet smiles, goes and opens his robes and says, you know what? Allah has forgiven you. For you and me, we are told, in fact, when you go to Masjid al-Nabawi, you read 2 rakat salah as near as possible, and you ask for forgiveness, right? For you and me, right now, is to use the wasila of the Masumin. Now, the Prophet is known as Ra'uf. Allah's name is Ra'uf. The Prophet is known as Ra'uf. Okay. And Imam al-Radha is known as Imam al-Ra'uf. So I would say, Ya Allah, in your name which is Ra'uf, I ask you in the name of the Prophet who is Ra'uf, and I ask you in the name of the Imam that is Ra'uf, please forgive me. What does Ra'uf mean? Ra'uf means so kind that there's no pain. Ra'uf is the only one who understands. I can only put it as I teach it to children. Rahman, dentist. Rahim, hygienist. Both hurt. Ra'uf, anesthesia. No hurt. You get? You don't want to hurt. And you want him to understand that what I did, I just feel so bad about. So I may mention this again, yes. There is no deepness. You can come back from anywhere you are. That is why I said one judge position taken. When it's empty, we'll all apply. It is up to him, and it's your sincerity of how you want to do your U-turn. Okay, I was in another country, or in the USA last week, and we were using Waze. Do you use Waze? Yeah, we're using Waze. And when Waze said U-turn, and we didn't U-turn, oh my goodness, she went nuts. She kept on saying, U-turn, U-turn, U-turn. And that's exactly what this is all about, okay? The moment you U-turn, she's quiet. Same thing. He prepares you for that, you turn it. Okay. Oh, I love this. It's one of my favorite ayat of the Qur'an. Okay. So you all watch Lion King. You know Rafiki? You know that, yes? Rafiki comes from mirfaq. Mirfaq, and the reason why I put green is because the cushions in Jannah are green. If you don't have a green cushion in your lounge, you're going to have one now. The cushions in Jannah are green. If it doesn't match, who cares? Okay? So mirfaq is, when you sort of sink into your sofa and you have this favorite cushion that you lie against. You good with that? Rafiki is a friend that you can just sit and chat to and know they are a source of comfort. Are you good? Okay, now let's go through the ayah. Okay, so Rafiq is a source of comfort. By the way, Qur'an has lots of, forget about Qur'an, Arabic has a lot of definitions of a friend. There's Sadiq, there's Hamim, and inshallah one day we will go over them when we come to that. But this Rafiq is a source of tranquility, a source of peace. You all have a favorite cushion somewhere. Now, وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ. Now we did this before. Ita'a and ittiba. You remember? Ita'a was bare minimum. Ittiba was to the footsteps, to the last detail. So here it says, whoever does the bare minimum of following Allah and His Messenger, فَأُولَٰئِكَ, for them, مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ. أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ is beautiful. Surah Al-Fatiha. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. So you're amongst those people that He will take an example of that follow them. أنعم الله عليهم من النبيين والصديقين والشهداء. So He's telling you, if you do the bare minimum, I will put you in direct contact. You will have the mobile numbers of the Nabiyyin, of the Siddiqeen, and of the Shuhada. Imagine, we used to call it a Rolodex in my day and age. These days you call it a phone, right? So imagine in your contacts, you have direct access to the person who will solve all your physical problems, all your emotional problems, all your spiritual problems, just like that. And you're the person who has them. You got a problem, you call him or her, and they will sort it out. That's basically what He's saying. وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ. He says He will put you with them and you will be in direct contact with the Nabiyyin and the Siddiqeen and the Shuhada. Very often I get told that on the day of Ashura, some people have a sajdaga or a tasbih that turns red. Do you hear that? And you say, but Marapa said, I have it, nothing happens to mine. It doesn't go red. I put a camera on it and it doesn't go red. Even for that short period, and hers just goes red. Well, she's somebody who's وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ. That doesn't mean you aren't. That means I got to strive to be somewhere there. Because they've got direct numbers. And وَالصَّالِحِينَ. And those who are righteous. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Then he says, وَحُسْنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا. They cannot be rafiqis with them. They are their rafiqis. So they are friends with them. They can relax because they know. Can you imagine? You know what a rafiq is now? Yes? What was the last friend we did? Do you remember? The bitana friends. Do you remember the bitana friends? The belly friends? Right? Okay, so these are rafiqis. So I'm hoping you will have a green cushion in your lounge or maybe in your bedroom, and you will put on the mirfaq. Mirfaq is a cushion, and you'll remember 469. Are you good? You all know embroidery, but see, write on it, no? 469. And embroider on it. Are you good? You're not even smiling. Okay, it's okay. I'm trying to make you understand it and remember it. Okay, 478. Okay? Good? So in my Quran, I have a green. Can you see that? Oh, God. All right, here we go. Can you see my green cushion? So every time I see it, I smile, okay? Because I want these people in my phone. Still waiting for it, okay? All right, so 478. Let's go. Now this is quite simple. أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُوا. Wherever you are. It doesn't matter where you are. يُدْرِكُمُ الْمَوْتِ. Death will definitely come to meet you. Now let me just explain the word yudriku, okay? Daraka is to go down some steps. When you say daraka, it means that you're going down some steps. Adraka is when someone reaches you step by step. You know when somebody says, I don't know whether you have this, but if somebody I know very well is coming home, they will send me a pin on their wherever they are. And they'll say, so much traffic, but we're nearly there. And I'm watching that, especially the people you have on Find My Friends. Have you seen that? You track them. Do you track them? I track my husband all the time, okay? So I track it and I see where they are. And I know exactly where they are. So I know when he's about 2 minutes away, I go put the food on, whatever, right? That sort of thing. So this is what, the moment you think yudrikum, it means death is tracking you. Find My Friends, he's looking. Malakul Maut is really amazing, okay? So he's tracking you. Adraka when he's tracking you. So step by step, he's coming towards you. Whether you like it or you don't, he's going to park there. And he's going to say, let's go home. Oh, by the way, you know what marhuma means, don't you? One on whom Allah has bestowed His rahmah. He's encompassed them in their rahmah, in their mercy. Hello? You don't fight it. It's amazing. Okay. إِنَّمَا تَكُونُ يُدْرِكُمُ الْمَوْتِ. You know yudrikuna. He's coming. Find My Friends. Okay, good. وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ مُشَيَّدَةٍ. You all know Dubai, Burj Khalifa. If you don't, you know it now, right? Okay. Buruj, and we'll do Surah Al-Buruj, inshallah. Burujun mushayyida means a tall, impenetrable tower. Mushayyida is plastering. Now, towers used to have these indentations in them. When people built towers, they used to have indentations. So if you were Spider-Man, you could go into the indentations and you could climb up. Mushayyada means even those indentations are plastered over. So burujin mushayyada means it's so smooth nobody can climb over. So if you thought I'm in this gas chamber, I done oxygen chamber, and I've done all this, I've been to the gym, blah, 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 and then death is not going to find me. He said, sorry, it's tracking you, and it's going to come, okay? وَإِن تُصِبْهُمْ حَسَنَةٌ يَقُولُ هَذِهِ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. Now, this is the attitude of those who look at death. They say, this is talking about hypocrisy. They say, if something good to us, these are people who don't accept death. They say, if something good comes to us, it's from Allah. وَإِن تُصِبْهُمْ سَيِّئَةٌ يَقُولُ هَذِهِ مِنْ عِنْدَكَ. If it was something bad, it's from you, O Prophet. You're the one who brought bad luck to us. Against Surah Yasin. Remember what the people of Antioch said? They told those messengers, you are means of bad luck to us. You're like those birds to us. This is what, and he says, كُلْ كُلٌّ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. Everything is from Allah. Now, remember the next ayah, you may think it's a contradiction, but it's not. When it says, كُلُّ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ, means good, بِيَدِهِ الْخَيْرِ. Good comes from Him. If you do something wrong and there's a reaction, then that reaction is a means of His justice that comes back to you. If I don't brush my teeth, then I will have to go to the dentist, whether I like it or I don't. That is what adala is. Okay. فَمَا لِهَؤُلَاءِ الْقَوْمِ لَا يَكَادُونَ يَفْقَهُونَ حَدِيثًا. What is the matter with these people? They don't understand. They just don't understand. So he started off with death, but then he goes on to tell me and you that people who behave like this will never understand death. Hopefully you should have something with death in here. Do you? I don't know. Let's have a look. Maybe you have, oh look, you've got a tower there. You've got a tall tower there, and then you've got the sutun as a picture. Yes? You good with that? Okay. All right. Are you good with this? If you look at the next ayah, which is 79, Ma asabaka min hasanatin. Can you just look at it? Ma asabaka min hasanatin famin Allah. Whatever good comes from you is from Allah. Wa ma asabaka min sayyatin famin nafsika. Whatever bad comes to you is from your own nafs. Now, death is not bad. Illness is not bad. Unless you've done something. If I smoke too much, then my lungs will hurt. But if something came up, it's not a bad thing. There is a goodness somewhere there. So please don't look at everything like that, okay? We'll talk about it when the ayah comes. وَأَرْسَلْنَاكَ لِلنَّاسِ رَسُولًا وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا. And He's a witness over you. Right, 82. This you have a picture of a Qur'an, I hope, somewhere. Yes, you do. Okay. 482. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. In Surah Muhammad, it says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Do they have locks on their hearts? Now, يَتَدَبَّرُونَ comes from dubur. Dubur means the back. Tadabbur means having a 360 look at the whole ayah. Not just reading it just like that. To actually look at it carefully and think, how do I do this? And he's saying, وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدَ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. If it wasn't from Allah, you would find so many misconceptions in it, so many discrepancies. Here, the thing that we need to do is, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. We don't think about the Qur'an. We just pare. And I know, because I do Amal Dawood. Rajab is coming, right? So you will see, it is like pare. It's such speed, they can't even see what's going on. However, if you've highlighted stuff, then maybe you will stop there and you will start looking at it. Even as the month of Ramadan comes, I know you may read Quran every day. Maybe one eye and pondering over it is what this is trying to tell you and me. Right, next one, 486. I love it. And you love it too. Okay. Now, it doesn't say salam here, although on your stickers you've got something that's salam. Now see what it says. وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُمْ. حُيِّيتُمْ comes from hay. Hay means life. You know when somebody smiles at you and says, good day. I went to a country last week and they said, happy holidays because it's Thanksgiving. May you have a good Thanksgiving. That is حَيِّيتُمْ. حَيِّيتُمْ is not just salam. When somebody greets you, if somebody said, have a happy holiday, you don't say, yeah, okay, I will. Say, you too, I hope you have an even better one. Because here it says, بِتَحِيَّةٍ, with a greeting of life. فَحَيُّ بِأَحْسَنِ مِنَا أَوْ رُدُّهَا. Give them a better greeting or return the same. It's not only when somebody says salam, you say, wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. But when somebody says good morning, add a bit more. Good morning and may you have a wonderful day today. That is what this ayah is about. It's not only talking about salam. I repeat, it doesn't say salam here, okay? You know, there's a slave who offered Imam Hassan a bundle of flowers. And in response, he freed her. And they said, but she only gave you some flowers. Maybe they were from the petrol station. But he said this ayah, 486. And I was reading somewhere today, and it's funny, when you do the ayat of Quran, things just come up. And I was reading somewhere today about a man who was pretty wealthy. And when he saw somebody on the street, he gave the person a basket full of rotten fruit. The guy washed out the basket, put the best of flowers he could find from his garden, and he went to give it to the man. And the man said, but I gave you rotten fruit. He said, you only give what's in you. You can't give what's not in you. You can't. And in my heart is only giving of goodness. So when you see this, the greeting that comes from you has to be from here. When you say, Assalamu alaikum, you're actually saying the word, the name of Allah, which is As-Salam. You're saying, may peace encompass you. Whatever happened between you and me, all khalas, finished. Not Assalamu alaikum and that, God, I don't like it. It can't work like that. This ayah says something completely different. You know, I'm going to go a little bit on salam because I remember it not happened now, many years ago, praying Salatul Jama'ah. And I remember after Salatul Jama'ah, you know, you shake hands. And I remember I went to shake somebody's hand. They said, "Tansu kopich, kali hat kopich." Which kind of cup do? Just want your hand. That's all I want. So basically, when you shake hands with someone, Allah takes away everything. He actually forgives you. When you hug someone, all the burdens of your back are just taken off. It's amazing what this does. This ayah has so much to go into it. Are you good with 486? Right. Now, I'm not going to go into 4110. I'm going to carry on later because I haven't got much time. I've got 5 minutes. But what I'd like to take you through is Ayam-e Fatimiyya. Because I'm not here next week, we're not here because there's Majalis here, and rightly so because we commemorate the days of Sayyidah Fatima. I'd like to give you 4 ayat that I'd like to write. I'm probably going to write them on the board, so you've got them. I think I will need Muhaymina here. All right. So the ayat I'd like to look at for Sayyidah Fatima, and I'll put a test through with you. I'll put an open book text next Thursday. I don't know whether you can read them. Can I have a pen that is readable? I think this is a bit funky. So the first ayah is known as Ayatul Mawadda, okay? And that's 42:23. It's known as Ayatul Mawadda. I need you to highlight them, by the way. The second ayah is known as Ayatul Abrar, and that's 76:5-9. Ayatul Abrar. The third ayah, which you all know, and you don't have a problem with that, is 33:33, which is Ayatul Tathir. And that goes hand in hand with what we've already done, which is 361, which is Ayatul Mubahila. I'm not going to do too many ayats. I'm just picking out bits and pieces. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't forget 5. And that's Surah Al-Kawthar, which is Surah number 108. These are all related to Sayyidah Fatima. So Ayam-e-Fatimiyya next Thursday, you're going to look at 5 ayat. One is Ayatul Mawadda. La asalikum alayhi ajran illa mawaddata fil qurba. 76:59. You know what Surah Al-Insan talks about? The 3 days fasts that the house of Sayyidah Fatima kept. They're known as Ayatul Abrar. I need you to know those names because I'm going to ask you next week, okay? Or next week I'll put it in the test. And the third one is Ayatul Tathir. Innama yuridullahu liyuthibankum rijsa ahlal bayt wa yutahhirakum tathira. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And then that is related to Ayatul Mubahila. You know, Ayatul Tathir happened on the night of Mubahila. And Surah Al-Kawthar is totally Sayyidah Fatima. Inna a'ataynaka Kawthar. Are you good with that? I will put on the group a little bit of a write-up on Sayyidah Fatima because absolutely phenomenal. Again, I will put a salawat on there. So to recite 535 times. Allahumma inni as'aluka bihaqi Fatima wa abiha wa ba'liha wa baniha wa sirr al-mustawda fiha adada ma ahata bihi ilmuk. You cannot find a better wasila than Sayyidah Fatima. You cannot. If you put all the imams together, you put the Prophet together, they will tell you go to Fatima. That is why you find in in Hadith Qissa that we read, so just before Ayatul Tathir, Hum Fatimatu wa abuha wa ba'aluha wa banuha. She's an embodiment of Surah An-Nisa because if you look at a Muslim identity, always put the woman first. I will repeat to you what I said to you before. When we went to Morocco, and the doors in the houses, there were 2 doors. There's a big entrance door and there's a small entrance door. The big entrance door, which is your and my height, our normal doors are for women. The small one is for the men because they say they have to bow down to get into the house, so they always remember the humility they have to show their women. Okay, so Surah An-Nisa, phenomenal surah. We haven't finished it. We'll finish it, inshallah, not next week, the week after. Are you good with that? Right, we need to end with the Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين صدق الله العظيم. Please recite this with me one time. والزم قلبي حفظ كتابك كما علمتني. والزم قلبي حفظ كتابك كما علمتني. It's 6 words rather. If you can just remember walzam qalbi first. Walzam qalbi. Commit to my heart. Just remember that. Walzam qalbi. And we'll keep on doing that every week until we know it so well that every time we open the Qur'an, when we say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, we will say walzam qalbi hifdha kitabika kama allamtani. I'll get it for you on bookmarks anyway. Okay, Jazakumullah khair.